Saturday, February 6, 2016, and this is your prophecy update. And you probably noticed this is like the third one this week, and you're wondering, well, what's up with that? Let me begin today by telling you what's up with that, and it's actually twofold. Number one is, I think it was last weekend I went to a prophecy seminar. And don't get me wrong, it was a good weekend. There was some good speakers, they had some good topics, and the delivery was well. It was very well orchestrated and organized. It wasn't bad. However, at this prophecy seminar, there was very little, if anything, to do with prophecy being talked about, being studied. And I'm scratching my head. I'm thinking, well, why? This is a prophecy update. And these speakers were nationally known. They were accredited. They're leaders of organizations. They have a lot to lose, so maybe they were a little afraid. Maybe they were afraid there was somebody sitting in the crowd that was censoring them because, oh, God forbid we be politically incorrect. I don't care about being politically incorrect, so I'm going to give you like it is. I'm going to tell you like it is and let the chips fall where they may. Is at this prophecy seminar, and very little, if any, prophecy was discussed, so that kind of set me off a little bit. The second reason is, you see what date it is? It's February 6th. And people, I've had the opportunity, I've had the pleasure to speak to my church and give them prophecy updates. And I've been doing that for years. And for years, I've been warning about, 2016, about the window of opportunity of, the window of pain, whatever you call it. And it goes in one year and out the other. I realize that. But here's the date. It's February 6th. Tomorrow is the 7th. It's the second week of February. And I've been saying for years now, between mid-February to September, there's an opportunity, there's a lot of pain in America is going to be felt. I've been saying that for years. I'm on record, I'm on video, I'm on tape. But here we are, and I didn't really realize that. So I'm sitting at this, seminar, and it didn't really dawn on me until, that I understood, I recognized, hey, they're not talking about prophecy, and then, I don't know, a little voice inside my head, Mike, hello, you've been telling people all along that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, look out, here comes this time period. Well, here we are, at the door of the threshold of pain, I call it, whatever. So that's why I'm doing this so quickly, because that door is wide open. We're stepping over the threshold into I'm not giving dates, okay? I'm not Harold Camping. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't care about thumbs up or rates or likes or shares. So I'm not going to be sensational just to garnish any of those likes or thumbs ups or shares. I just want you to understand the times in which we live. In the Old Testament, the sons of Issachar. It's way back in the beginning. And I think it's somewhere in 1st or 2nd Chronicles where it was said about the sons of Issachar that they were able to discern the times in which they lived. They were wise. They knew what was up. They understood what to do because they knew the days in which they lived. They understood the times. They studied prophecy. So that's what these prophecy updates are hopefully are going to have that effect with you, with me, that we would understand the days in which we live, because no date setting, but the time is very, very short. I've always said, every year I say, oh, this is the year that the rapture could happen. This year I said, this is the year that it would. And I'm not setting a date. And I could be wrong. Maybe he won't come until 2018 or 2024 or 3092. I don't know. Because in the Bible we read, the Lord is not slack concerning his promises, right? As some consider slackness. He forgot. Or no, he didn't mean it. It ain't going to happen. You're stupid. You're foolish. Get over it. It ain't going to happen. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise of the rapture, the promise of his second coming, which are two distinct, separate events. That's a topic for another day. But the Lord's not slack, so He's long-suffering. And in between here and now, until that happens, God is long-suffering, not willing that any should perish. So I hope these times of these prophecy updates will give somebody, give me hopefully, or you, a clue as to what day it is. It could happen today. I've said February, mid-February to September. And here we are. We're at the threshold. We're at the door. In Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 through 17, I read, it says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, carefully, understanding." Like the sons of Issachar, they understood, they were able to discern the times in which they lived. Walk circumspectly, discern, pay attention, and see then that you walk circumspectly, and not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. That's in the Bible. That's in the news. Therefore, the Bible goes on to say in Ephesians chapter 5, "Do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is." So what is the will of the Lord? I'm glad you asked. It's a very good question. And we find the answer in Micah chapter 6, verse 8, and it's so simple. "He has shown you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you?" Okay? "But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Does any of those three things sound hard? Why do we make this a big religious show of something that is to walk humbly? That's not humble. People who are putting on their Sunday go to meeting best, and they put on this show that they're not walking humbly. But to do justly, there is no justice in America these days. Have you noticed that? To love mercy, that's seldom seen. The Bible tells us, it warns us, it begs us to walk circumspectly, to walk carefully, to pay attention, to understand, to realize, to don't get caught up in the trap. Don't be drawn away. Don't be led astray. Don't fall asleep. Pay attention. Look out. Walk carefully. And just, to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Okay? It's a sermon. I apologize. No, I don't. Actually, because that's part and parcel to prophecy. The Bible is fully 1/3 prophecy for a reason. It serves as a warning. It says, look out. Jesus is up here tapping on his watch saying, look out. Walk circumspectly. Warning, I'm coming soon. Not setting any dates. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not Harold Camping, but okay. So, prophecy update. Let's get to the news. February 4th, 2016. And I should have shot this yesterday, because between the 4th and the 6th, so much has happened. Prophetically, so much is going on in the news today. It just blows my mind. It's fun to watch. It's painful to watch. It's interesting. I learned from watching the news. Put the Bible and the news together, and what do you get? You get a warning. Okay. Here on BBC.com on the 4th of February. And again, I'll try to supply the links. There is an article, and it says, Paris climate deal could displace millions of forest dwellers, unquote. I'll give you the link. In this article, and you know what, I've been doing prophecy updates for years with my church, and I've been warning, I've been telling them, I said, look out, this global warming thing is socialism, has nothing to do with saving the planet. Here's the proof. Paris climate could displace millions of forest dwellers. This is global socialism. Read this article. You will see that they're taking money from Norway to help displace 335,000 people in Liberia. People who live in the woods. Norway's paying for, Liberia to displace them. Take them away from their homes, take them away from their way of life, take them out of everything that they know and love, and put them into a city, a concentration camp. Anywhere but in the woods. God forbid, we got to save the planet. They're hugging trees. This is not about global. Let me continue. They're taking money from Germany, okay, to displace over 1 million people in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Over 1 million people whose way of life is in the woods, living with nature. And they're not like Americans. They're not like the Western civilization, who are poaching and destroying the planet. They use every part of the animal that they hunt. They use... The point of the matter is global socialism disguised as ecology. We're trying to save the planet. No, you're not. Because if you're trying to save the planet on one hand, using this, and they call it sustainable innovation. They had a forum in Paris, 2015. That was the name of it. Sustainable innovation. It's just global warming crap. You know what? If you really wanted to save the planet, okay, you would leave these people in the woods because they're caring for the woods, and you would, at the same time that they're trying to save the planet, tell me what's up with the chemtrails. Look at Time on February 4th, 2016 on time.com. Again, I'll try to supply the links. There is an article, and it's called, and I quote, "The gas leak in California's history isn't close to being fixed," unquote. Since October 23rd, 2015, millions, if not billions, of cubic feet of methane gas is escaping into the atmosphere, and it's not even close to being fixed. The government is dragging their feet. The government isn't doing anything about it to try to stop it. If anything, they're going very slowly at all. The corporations are doing very little, if anything, to stop it, because they don't want to give up any of their money, their profits, God forbid. Do you hear what I'm telling you? Millions, if not billions, of cubic feet of methane gas is going into the atmosphere, and they're going to tax farmers for cow farts because we're destroying the planet. You can't use hairspray because you're killing the planet. Don't get me going. I just want to tell you, look out, all right? Pay attention. The Bible says to walk circumspectly. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Pay attention. There's what people say and what people do are usually two different things. The Bible tells us to watch and pray. That's going to be the banner over our times together, is to watch and pray always, that you be counted worthy to escape all these things. We are actively involved. Maybe not you and I per se, but countries and corporations are actively involved in destroying the planet. Now remember that. We'll get back to it later. But you hear what I'm telling you? Okay? In California, they're not even trying to stop it. But they're going to take people from their homes in Liberia, people from their homes in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it's coming here to America, folks. Listen to me. I'm telling you, in the name of saving the planet, you can't be a country boy. You can't be a redneck. You can't be a country girl. You got to move to the city. There's an end game there. Okay? It's not good. They're not trying to save the planet, people. This is global socialism. It's here. It's now. It's prophecy. Okay? Watch and pray. Walk circumspectly. I'm not even going to talk about CERN, okay? I'm not even going to talk about HARP. Because you understand what that is. Any YouTuber, go on YouTube, they'll tell you what's going on. Alright? I'm not even going to talk about eugenics. I talked a little bit last week about, the CRISPR and designer babies and all that stuff. I'm not even going to talk about, oh my goodness. There's just so much going on, and I only have so much time. I hope this time together will just encourage you to walk circumspectly, to walk with both eyes wide open, because it's right in front of your face. First Corinthians chapter 3, verses 19 through 20. Here we read, it says, "For the wisdom of the world is foolishness with God." Okay? "For it is written, He catches the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are but futile. And again in Psalms chapter 8, we read in verses 4 through 6, it says, "What is man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you visit them? For you have made man a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands, and you put all things under his feet. But I have to ask you, what are we? What have we? What are we doing with this planet? As a country, as a corporation, what are we doing? In the name of global warming, we're destroying the planet in the name of progress. In the name of saving the planet, let's destroy it. See, God says he's watching. He says, what is man that you are mindful? He's watching. And the Son of Man, generations, he's watching. He doesn't miss a thing. As a matter of fact, he knows before you're going to do it because he's outside of time. I don't want to preach. This is prophecy, okay? This is not a sermon. But we read it in the Bible that really has nothing to do with prophecy. It all fits together. It's a giant jigsaw puzzle. Walk circumspectly. Put it together, people. Understand what's going on, okay? This is the world that we live in. Time is very short. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. And he's going to catch us in our own craftiness. There's a sermon here. I'll just move on. Again, we read in Revelations chapter 11, 18. And again, everything in content and in context. I say that all the time. So I'm just using I'm taking verses out of content, but I'm using it in context. Because the Bible does not contradict itself. But sometimes when we take things out of content or context and we fit it with something that's not in the same context of what we're talking about, it can get confusing. But God is not the author of confusion. Man does that. So if you think the Bible contradicts itself, you're wrong. You're contradicting yourself. Let the Bible interpret the Bible. Having said all that, using all this stuff together, I want to read Revelations 11, verse 18, without preaching. It says, the nations were angry, and your wrath has come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that you should reward your servants, the prophets, and the saints. Saints, you and I. If you're a Christian, you're a saint. The prophets, there's so many people on YouTube right now saying, I'm a prophetess. No, you're not. Okay? Because you do not stand up to the litmus test of prophecy. And that's a post for another day. But it goes on to say in Revelations 11:18, and those who fear your name, small and great, here it comes. Now listen to me now, okay, right? Pay attention. This is in the Bible. It says, speaking of God, it says, and you should destroy those who destroy the earth. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand me now? Corporations, governments, and even individuals who will willingly, do something like dump paint thinner into the water supply. Little things, big things. It doesn't matter if you do stuff to destroy the earth, to poison the earth, to destroy your fellow man, to poison your fellow man or the earth. God, and you should destroy those who destroy the earth. Simply put, this time that's coming that we typically know as the tribulation has a threefold purpose. And this is a prophecy update, and we should talk about that right now, but I only have so much time. So much is going on in the news today. That window of opportunity that I often speak about, that opportunity of pain, that window of pain, it starts in mid-February. Here we are, folks. We're at the threshold. And just, you know what? I can balance my checkbook, okay? But I am the least qualified to talk about financial concerns, Wall Street and all that stuff. I'm not qualified. I don't know the first thing about it. But on YouTube, there's this guy called Gregory Mannarino. You can look him up. He knows a lot. He knows his stuff. And he makes videos. And I want to give him accolades because in my times at church where I talk about prophecy update, I've been telling them, I've been warning them, I've been giving them the news, we're walking circumspectly, and I'm telling them, hey, look, because it's news, it's history, it's actually still going on. If you look, if you watch, there's been a rash of deaths and suicides in the financial markets. These people who are involved in Wall Street. and they watch all this stuff and they understand what it means. They can't handle it, and they either jump out a window or they shoot themselves or they do a drug overdose, or people that understand it and they want to do something to change it, to fix it, to fight it, they get offed. All right, CIA and whoever it is, I don't know, but I'm telling you, truth is stranger than fiction. And these people who can see the truth and might want to say something or do something to fix it are probably considered a threat. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do know that some of their deaths were suspicious. That's the bottom line. Okay, some were straight out suicides, others were murders, and so on and so forth. But do you hear me? The people working in the financial system see what's happening and they can't handle it. Gregory Mannarino is in that the way of life. He's in that walk. He's in that profession, but he's done something totally opposite what other people have done. And he creates these videos every day to warn you, to warn me, to show us what's happening, what this is going on, what it all means. And I tell you what, it's already too late for Greece. It's already too late for Venezuela. It's already too late for America. Do you hear me? Financially speaking, there's a financial catastrophe happening, going on. Greece is already, and Venezuela are already in the middle of it. They're in the thick of it. Here we are, America. Believe it or not. And it's probably going to happen this coming week. We're in the thick of it too. It's already too late for America. We owe what? Between 19 and 22 trillion dollars? We owe so much money, there's no way that we could possibly pay it. Have you ever heard of eminent domain? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm telling you? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you see what Obama, he wrote this executive order with eminent domain? If we can't pay our debts, then we'll give you real estate. Let it sink in. Do you hear what I'm telling you? It's already too late for America. It's already too late for Greece and Venezuela. But now, in today's news, Germany and the EU they're in duress. They're in panic time. They're in crunch mode. That's either sink or swim. Here we go, folks. If you understand prophecy, hear what I'm telling you. Germany and the EU. Do you understand me? There's an article, and it's not Christian by any stretch of the imagination, on February the 2nd, on 2016, on Bloomberg.com. The article reads, "The Fed wants to test how banks would handle negative rates." Now, I mentioned Gregory Mannarino. Search him out on YouTube. Understand what's happening. Realize the Bible tells us to walk circumspectly. All I can say about this is because I don't understand world finance. It's just too crazy. I can balance my own checkbook. I'm going to hire these fools that can't. I could go off right here, but I won't because I'm not qualified. But you know what I can tell you about? You know what I am qualified in? Zephaniah chapter 1, verses 17 and 18. I'm going to read something to you. It says, "I will bring distress upon men." I will bring distress upon men. "And they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord." Do you hear what I'm telling you? Do you understand what this means? We could see that in the news. We could see that in the financial markets. We could see it on Wall Street. We could see it in the White House. We could see it on the world stage. "I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men." Do you hear me now? Because they have sinned against the Lord. Now pay attention. It goes on to say, "Their blood shall be poured out like dust, and their flesh like refuse. Neither their silver or gold shall be neither their silver or gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he will make speedy riddance of all those who dwell in the land." Everything in content and context. And there's some theological terms that you should be familiar with. One of them is law of double reference. understand what I'm telling you, okay? I'm not putting dates on it. But I know what the Illuminati, what the NWO have in store, what they want to do, what's coming down, and the window's open. We're at the entranceway. We're going into February 7th tomorrow. I'm not saying the world's going to end tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you, there's pain. America, you are facing pain. I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. Hello, America! Ezekiel 7:19. They will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will be like refuse. Their silver and their gold will not be able to save them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They will not satisfy their souls, nor fill their stomachs. Their silver and gold. It ain't going to help, okay? It goes on to say, because it became their stumbling block of iniquity. Now, again, I don't understand the workings of Wall Street, okay? But did you see that money years ago? Did you see that movie years ago? I think it was called Wall Street with, who was in it? Charlie Sheen, I think maybe was in it with his father. Martin Sheen. And they're saying greed works or something. It became the stumbling block of their iniquity. You know, you also got to look at Revelations 18:17. That's the time, all coming in the future, in the very near future. It's the total economic meltdown, global scale. Your money doesn't mean a thing. And I'm telling you, it's already, it's the pen, the ink is on the paper already. Obama's coming for your savings account. He's coming for your property. And when I say Obama, I don't mean Obama himself. I mean the powers that be, the NWO, we'll get to it. But Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2 says, read it. There's a power structure behind the power structure behind the power structure. It's like watching a puppet show. You could watch the puppet string, a dance and everything on the ends of the string. But up above, where you can't see, there's fingers moving the strings. What we could see only, you and I right now, we can see the puppets dancing. We can't see what's going on behind the scenes. But I'm telling you, look out. But all that said and done, it doesn't matter, okay? Because God is God, and we're not. Jeremiah 25 verse 9 is a very, very, very interesting verse, and it reads, and here's just a part of it. He says, God speaking. He called Nebuchadnezzar my servant. Do you know who Nebuchadnezzar is? Do you understand the story? Are you familiar with that? Look it up, okay? Nebuchadnezzar was a very, very, very bad man. He would make ISIS look like romper room. They don't compare. He did so many nasty things. He ruled the world, and it was from the Babylonian Empire back in the day. And you know what? They were feared, and for good reason. Well, God called Nebuchadnezzar my servant. Here it is. Israel is God's elect, right? And Babylon comes and invades and destroys Israel, and God calls him my servant. The point I'm making here is God can use anything to complete his purposes. And as the story goes, Nebuchadnezzar, the crazy fool who overcame and destroyed the world, and he did a lot of evil. I mean, makes ISIS look tame by comparison. He ended up going crazy for 7 years. Now that's interesting. 7. I'm not into numerology, but I think it's very interesting. And then after 7 years, he being crazy, started raving, mad lunatic, thought he was a cow or something. And the long and the short of it, there's a book, I believe, and there's a chapter in Daniel written by Nebuchadnezzar. And I believe with all of my heart, I'm going to meet Nebuchadnezzar in heaven one day. But that's neither here nor there. But the point is God can use bad things for good purpose. God can use the nation that, let's say, he can use North Korea if he wanted to judge America. That's what I'm telling you, okay? That's what I'm saying here. And that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying North Korea. It could be Iran. It could be the island nation of Tonga. All right? It could be anybody. I don't know. Isaiah 46, verse 10. Isaiah 48, verses 3 through 5. Isaiah 48 through 16. All reads, calling the end from the beginning. It all speaks about prophecy. How God is not... He doesn't do anything without telling us what's going to happen first. That's what I'm telling you. Prophecy is God telling us what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. Now we read the book of Ezekiel, we read the book of Daniel, we read the book of Revelation. We can put all these Old and New Testament prophetical writings together and we can see what's going on, okay? I'm telling you, things are going to happen. But God doesn't, He calls the end from the beginning. And before things happen, He plainly tells us that the Bible is fully 1/3 prophecy. And I'm not even giving you a thumbnail sketch. We're barely scratching the surface of what's going on here. But God does tell us what He's going to do and what's going to happen. So read the Bible. When the Bible talks about pestilence and disease, in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, you can read Jesus' own words about pestilence and disease, okay? And then you look at the news on February 2nd, 2016. Again, I'm going to try to give you the links. On mirror.co.uk, there's an article, and you should read it. You probably already have by now. Fears Zika virus could contaminate emergency blood supplies. On February 3rd, on Reuters.com, first U.S. Zika virus transmission reported attributed to sex. And then just yesterday at work, I was walking by, there was a television, and Florida is in a state of emergency because of Zika. Understand what that is, okay? Read up on it. Understand. God can use pestilence and disease to judge, okay? But that's not what this is. This is all just the beginning of sorrows. That things, prophecy relates what we're going through to as labor pains. And as labor pains go, they start out slow, they get stronger, and they get closer together. You understand what I'm telling you? The Bible says all these things that we're seeing right now is just the beginning of sorrow. And I'm telling you, here and now, you don't want to be here for the full-blown 7-year time frame that we call the Great Tribulation. Things that we're reading in the news today are labor pains. They're warning signs. They're signposts on the road to destruction. It says, look out, here we come. Zika, pestilence and disease. Jesus spoke about earthquakes in diverse places. On February 2nd, 2016, on BellinghamHerald.com, there's an article, and you probably heard of it already. The White House rallies public and private efforts for people to prepare for devastating earthquakes. That is the first time the government has ever issued such a severe bulletin. What do they know that we don't know? What we already know is the cascading subduction zone. Scientists are saying, look out, mega thrust earthquake going to happen. Be prepared. Get ready. Here it comes. I spoke about it last time here together about the New Madrid fault line. It's in the news. And that is some scary stuff. The Denali fault system. All these fault lines are here in America, all right? The Denali fault system, that's up in Alaska. Look it up, people. Okay? The Hayward fault over in California. San Andreas, you can tell me where that is. And there's hundreds more. There's hundreds more of fault lines, even just here in America. I'm not looking at the Ring of Fire. I'm not looking at anywhere else in the world because I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about you too. I'm worried about the world in general, at large, I guess. Yes, I am. But I have family. I have friends who are, can I be honest, they're destined for hell. And they're going to hate me for saying that. But it's the truth. I'm not being intolerant. I'm just telling you the cold hard facts. I don't like math, but it helps me to balance my checkbook. Do you understand? All these are warnings. These are warnings to say you don't have to go. Anyone who ends up in hell ends up there on purpose by themselves because they have been given so many opportunities to repent. And what does the Lord require of thee, O man? And it's 3 simple things. To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Very simple. Very easy. And we don't want to because the pride of life, there goes that. The pride of the lust of the eyes, there goes that. The lust of the flesh, there goes that. Wars and rumors of wars is another sign. As birth pangs go, they get worse and worse. On the 2nd of February, on BreakingIsraelNews.com, there is an article that reads, Doomsday clock set at 3 minutes to midnight, but what does the Bible say? Unquote. That's the name of the article. I'll give you a link. I read it. Okay? This author is a Jewish mystic. They're into Jewish mysticism. They're into the Kabbalah. And they don't really fully understand Israel's place in prophecy. They're Jewish and they don't understand. They're not walking circumspectly. They're not paying attention. Their eyes are blind. All right? They're acting like fools. I don't mean that disrespectfully. But that's what's going on. Okay? They're saying the doomsday clock is set at 3 minutes to midnight. But what does the Bible say? The Bible speaks a lot about it. But this author is a mystic, is a Kabbalist, doesn't understand the Bible. They understand all their dark sayings, their mysticism, their witchcraft, their sorcery. That they understand. They understand, all the other. Anyways, along the lines of wars and rumors of wars, on BreakingIsraelNews.com, there's another article on January 28th. It is time for American Jews to come to Israel, says American Jewish leader. A couple things I could say about that, and then we'll close. This article, the reason they want to leave, they want to, have Aliyah. American Jews have Aliyah to go back to Israel is because of anti-Semitism. For the last 2 years, 2015 and 2014, the Jews from France are leaving France and they're going to Israel. Aliyah. They're making their pilgrimage back home, as it were. And now they're calling that for America. You know who Henry Kissinger is? This is going to be posted for another time, and I shouldn't even bring that into this because it can be confusing. And it is. They know something that you don't. Bottom line. They're telling, get out of America. And they're not the only people to say so. A lot of movie stars are getting out of America. A lot of ex-military personnel are getting out of America. A lot of businessmen are getting out of America. A lot of politicians are getting out of America because they understand, they know what's happening. They're walking circumspectly, but for all the wrong reasons. For all the right reasons, I'm asking us, you and I, to pay attention, to be careful, to walk circumspectly, to wake up, okay? Watch and pray always that you be counted worthy to escape all these things. Now, I realize that we got to be here for some of it. But we're not going to be here for the worst of it. Because there's so many, in Christendom today, in Christianity, there are so many views. And it's all because, number one, we're not walking humbly. Our simple human pride gets in the way of being able to just understand the simple truth. Jesus says the kingdom of God, a child can understand it. And then here we come in with all our liturgical robes and our scholarly knowledge, and we make a sham. It's a mock. People mock Christianity for good reason, because we act foolishly. We act like jerks. We put on pomp and circumstance, and we don't walk the talk, and we don't talk the walk. It's crazy. Walk humbly. to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly. That is not hard to do. Watch and pray always that you be counted worthy to escape all these things. Now again, like I said in the beginning, this is already dated. There's so much happened in the last 2 days as far as biblical prophecy goes. I can hereby say it, by way of closing, I'm going to tell you, time is short. You don't have a lot of time left, okay? Get all your affairs in order. Warn people. Things are going to happen. If the rapture doesn't happen, we're going to hope that it does, okay? Because we got nothing but pain in the forecast. And the only way you can get through that, the only way you could face that confidently and without fear, is with the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. All right? Christianity is the only really, it's the original no fear type of thing. Fear nothing. You know, if God be for you, who can be against you? Basically what I'm saying. So, without preaching, I'm hoping that this prophecy update time together, if you're not a Christian, I want you to at least please seriously consider it. Hold it up against other, because I didn't become a Christian. I didn't become a Christian willfully, okay? I came kicking and screaming, but along the way, I was looking at other things, okay? I was. Maybe I'll give you my testimony some other day. But I just want to tell you, I understand, okay? If you have doubts, I understand. If you have fear, I get it. I know. If you think there's a better way or another way that all roads lead to heaven, I understand that. I get you, okay? But I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. I love you, but you're wrong. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. That's what Jesus said. And it ain't hard. In fact, it's the most easiest thing to do. And part of part of the reason I didn't want to become a Christian, because I thought it wasn't going to be any fun. Yeah, I don't want to get too far off the track, but I can honestly tell you, I'm having more fun now as a Christian. In spite of all this bad news, I have joy in my life. I have peace. I'm not afraid. I actually have fun. Believe it or not, I see what's coming, but you know what? It's like, who cares? This is not my home. All my toys are going to burn someday. I can't take them with me. I enjoy them, but you know what? That's not what life is about. He who has most toys wins. Wrong. That's the way of the world. And again, I've already said too much. I don't want to preach. I just want to tell you, get ready, okay? Because here we go. It's going to get ugly from here on out. I hope I still have time to do more of these prophecy updates, because you need to understand. You need to watch. You need to pray. And to pray always that you be counted worthy to escape all these things.